April of 2014, I started a new job as the head of retail for Equinox. And my first task at hand was to really understand this new job, this new role, my new team, my new career path, and create these new t-shirts for this event called Cycle for Survival. And I had these samples at my desk, and that whole entire week I wasn't really feeling good. And finally decided that there was a lump on my testicle that was really bothering me, and I needed to go to the doctor. And I got to the doctor, and within 2 days, the doctor called me back and asked me if I ever heard of Memorial Sloan Kettering. I cried 3 times during my cancer struggle. I cried the day I got diagnosed. I cried the day I was in remission. And I actually cried this morning when I walked in the front door because I couldn't be here last year. Last year I was in a hospital bed. I've gone through 2 surgeries, 200 stitches, 60 staples, cancer treatments, chemo. And I have to tell you that when I get on this bike, 5 seconds when I'm done, I'm gonna pedal faster than I ever fought cancer.
I tell you what, cancer is something that affects us all. None of us are immune to it. I'm so happy to be a part and to represent CVS and myself and my family. And when I got on that bike, I put myself in that mindset of what it's like to have to fight, not only for yourself, but for your family and all the people that's affected by cancer.
My mom was diagnosed with a rare brain cancer in 2012 and was treated at Sloan Kettering and had a very short life expectancy, but with a clinical trial, lived 1 cancer-free year. That year was the most amazing, precious year of our lives. We shared so many happy occasions. We spent so much important time together. I graduated from college. We had so many exciting moments, and her being cancer-free for a year gave us so much hope. And unfortunately, she passed away in 2013, but we celebrated her cancer-free year here 3 years ago. So I'm proud to be back here and in her honor, and I'm so proud to be here with all of you.
After it was discovered to have metastasized all over my body, this cheery outlook turned to a 50-50 chance of survival. But as I sat with my amazing doctor, Dr. Darren Feldman here, he said, I know the literature says 50-50, but that's based on old data. What we've been doing here at MSK, your numbers are much higher. And now, nearly 2 years removed from my last chemo, I can proudly stand on the stage, about to hop on my bike, cancer-free.
Through all that treatment, he went through another little procedure with Manjeet Bains, a great thoracic surgeon. You heard about Dr. Feldman was up here earlier. We chose one of his trial treatments that gets paid for by what we're doing here today. And my son, thankfully, 3 years cancer-free. He's in Texas. He couldn't be here today. Look at him! Look at him! Does he look scared? Does he look scared? No, look at him. That's what you guys did.
One of my favorite models of Kelly's was, let me live where there is light. When Kelly was diagnosed, she knew that the physical battle was probably not going to be one that she would win. But she promised to me and to herself that she would wake up every day and try to win the emotional battle. And she looked at me and she would say, this is where I want to live. I want to live where there is light. So we did. Every day we woke up, and even in the tough days and the dark journey that can be cancer, Kelly lived where there is light.
We went back to the lab and we said, we have these really rare, terrible diseases. What can we do? And in the last year, we opened 2 new clinical trials, thanks to Cycle for Survival, for rare diseases. So where does that get us? So last week, I opened a trial, and I had a patient who had been in the hospital 5 times in the last month. 5 times. She started this drug, and 3 weeks later, there's not 1 hospitalization, not 1.
What my mom had is called cholangiocarcinoma. It's extremely rare. There's about 2,500 people diagnosed a year in the US with it. So regardless of what we thought might be ahead, we asked questions. And we asked, is there a cure? No. Are there treatment options? No. Are there clinicals? No. So it was tough. It was a very tough start. We were met with a lot of hopelessness. Didn't stop us. Definitely didn't stop my mom. She didn't let cancer define her. She never lost her smile. And she was going to continue to fight and be an inspiration for everybody. And she still is to this day as she lives on. So Cycle for Survival has made a huge impact in our lives. When we were told there was no clinicals, we kept saying, you never know, there might be something. And sure enough, a clinical opened up that she could fit into. It was too late at that time, but that hope we had for that one day is indescribable. And that's what Cycle for Survival does. We're here as one community because no one should fight alone. We're here for research options so that no one's met with guesses and fear.
To be honest, I was completely lost without Kevin. I was 27 years old, I was a widow, and I felt defeated, I felt alone. Until I found out about Cycle for Survival. It changed my life. I was not alone anymore. And because of all of you and my team, the fighters here, and the wonderful people at Cycle for Survival, I felt a spark of life in me again. I had purpose. We have purpose. We are here to say that we won't let cancer take any more from us. We are here because someone hears those 3 words, you have cancer, it should be followed with, and here are your options. And better yet, we have a cure.
Cycle for Survival has a far-reaching and lasting impact on cancer. And don't think for a minute that it doesn't. Because the funds you raise here today have benefited my work, which is on brain cancer, for quite a number of years. And with your support and help, we've been able to develop new treatments for some of the most aggressive types of rare cancers that can occur. Cancers that not only shorten life, but affect the very essence of who we are as a human being, the brain. And so these families face multiple challenges. And with your help, we've been able to develop new treatments that not only help the patients who are at Memorial Sloan Kettering, but we're able to take those treatments into national and the international arena and be able to have a lasting impact on patients who suffer from these diseases, both near and far.
At that moment, my mom had to watch her 15-year-old son collapse to the ground in tears. And she did what she does. She picked me up and she gave me a hug and she said, "You're gonna be okay." And she brought me to the car and we drove over to the hospital. For the next 8 months, that's what she did. When I was down, she'd pick me up. When I was sad, she would make me smile. And when it was 3 a.m. and I was in the bathroom throwing up, she would sit there and she would rub my back and she would say, "It's gonna be okay." Now, as a cancer survivor, and I know that there are other cancer survivors here, we get a lot of praise. And, you know, it's deserved, but there's a population that does not get recognized, and that's the caretakers, the caregivers, the people that put their lives aside so that they could give us everything we need while we're undergoing treatment. And so today, I salute you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Even though I was treated in Cleveland, I was on a protocol of chemotherapy that was actually designed at Memorial Sloan Kettering. And I was able to be treated there on cutting-edge chemotherapy that now is the backbone of how we treat this disease. And I've been cancer-free for over 13 years now, thanks to a bone marrow transplant. Thanks. Now, last month, I was actually back in the hospital. But this time I was in the hospital as the attending physician on the leukemia service at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Now, my greatest experiment is 7 months old. Now, Lila's 7 months old, but her journey into this world started on January 16th, 2003. And that was the same day that I started chemotherapy. So she links the darkest day in my life with the brightest. She is a triumph over cancer. So I was asked, why do I ride? I ride for Lila. I ride for sons and daughters of cancer survivors, grandchildren of cancer survivors, great-grandchildren of cancer survivors. We are changing the game here, and you guys are helping make that happen.